All right, we're live, but here, let me back up out of the screen for a second. Let me highlight something. This is a vintage autographed 1 out of 1 Ashland the Panther Adams autographed Fighting Illini flag. Not to put the cart before the horse, but we have the Panther herself, Ashland Adams, in the house alongside her wonderful teammates. Why don't you introduce your teammates, Panther?
Oh, sure, okay. We have our starting center defender, Brooke Edersagen. She's a wall. We have our starting center mid, Ella Burns. She just gets the team going. Love these two girls.
And sorry, but you have to live in her shadow. But go ahead, boys, introduce yourselves.
I'm Owen. Not much to say about me.
Tomas, same. Not much. You know.
He's the soccer savant, though.
Yeah.
Tomas is.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, we're just we kind of co-host this podcast, but that's about it.
He'll be our X's and O's translator because I'm definitely a dummy when it comes to that in terms of soccer. All right, girls, give us an update. Where do we find you guys? You guys are in the heat of the postseason right now.
Yep, postseason. We just had our first playoff game last night. 3-0. We played Lake Park, who we played earlier in the season. We knew we had to do. Came out on top, and then we play Geneva, who also won last night. We play them on Friday, so it should be a good game then.
So I know you guys beat Geneva earlier in the season, but it looks like now they are riding a lot of momentum, and especially in the second half of their season. So I'm sure you're not expecting to win. You can't really expect to win in any playoff situation. But what are you guys feeling? Like, how are you guys feeling going into that matchup?
Well, they're expecting to win, but they're not going to take the competition lightly.
Right.
Exactly.
There you go.
Sorry, sometimes I gotta rework some of this phraseology.
My bad.
Geneva's definitely going to want to come out and beat us, come back after losing.
I feel like they're such a different team now, too. Like, even watching them, we watched them play against Wheaton North last week just because we knew we'd maybe meet both of them in playoffs, and they honestly look like such a different team. Like, they're so strong, so it's going to be tough, but knowing we beat them earlier this season, we know it's possible, so yeah, it's going to be fun.
It'll be a good game. I mean, they're a great opponent. We just need to focus on ourselves. I feel like we're in a good spot. We haven't really lost in a while. I feel like chemistry is still there. Keep working and improving, so I feel like we're in a good spot too.
Feel confident in what we can do.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, when you got Marilyn Dixon in goal, I mean, you got a leg up on any team.
True.
Right? Shout out Dixon, the Iron Curtain, basically, right there.
Yes. Yeah.
I told her I was gonna give her a shout, so
Good.
much love.
Well, yeah, in Geneva, they were kind of like in the middle pack, right, of that Duquesne Conference, which was insanely competitive this year, right? Because we had South, we had Wheaton North, St. Charles East, and St. Charles North, all kind of like in that top 4. So looking at kind of, the regular season as a whole, what do you think are your main takeaways going to the rest of the postseason? It was a pretty solid finish, right? Ended up 3rd in conference,
Yep.
Which
right? Really
is
good
insane,
record.
though, because they were like 5-1-2, and
Yeah.
then finishing 3rd. That
It was just
testament how good
such a tough
the competition is.
But yeah, looking at all of that as a whole, what do you think you guys can take away going to these elimination games?
I would say definitely don't underestimate any competition, especially like going into the games against Batavia and St. Charles East. We knew what we had to do, and I mean we did tie, but we played hard. We gave everything we had, but we can't come into a game thinking, oh, we're gonna win, because if that happens with Geneva, it might end up a tie again or a loss.
I feel like soccer is such like a different sport because it's on any given day. I feel like any team can win, and it's like we have to be on our game if we want to get the result that we want.
Yeah, it's like life or death now, and I feel like those, especially the Batavia game, it was a good game. I mean, we just didn't get to finish those opportunities that we need to, so really kind of learning from that, the mistakes that we did, so now we can feel confident in that we know what we need to do for against Geneva or against whoever we do face. So
Playoffs is such a different vibe. It's like you're winning and you're staying in, or you're losing and you're done.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, people don't want to go home.
Yeah.
Well, and at least from the games I've seen, toward the end of the season, it has felt a lot more like a playoff atmosphere. Like you mentioned the game against Batavia, right? A team that Batavia, sure, maybe on paper they have a worse record, right? But they really, I mean, they stepped it up that game. It got shortened because of the lightning, but yeah, ended up 1-1. Then the game against St. Charles East, also 0-0 deadlock, both teams like fighting it out. So I definitely feel like there's been a lot more grit, a lot more the teams kind of going into the playoffs with a lot more toughness. So I mean, now there's Geneva. Now we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Never underestimate your opponent, but there is the possibility for it would be a sectional semi against most likely Wheaton North, which looking back at the Wheaton Cup, that ended up being a loss. So what, again, don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but in the possibility of a Crosstown Classic in the playoffs, what would be your mindset going into that? Because that would be insane.
I think there's nothing better.
It's nothing but, I mean, yeah, just looking back at the game, I mean, at least I was, I mean, no one ever likes to lose, but when you're get that game with that caliber against, like, your rivals, that, it's an awful feeling, and I feel like, obviously, us three play a lot, we know a lot of those girls, we play Cub together, so we love them, but at the same time, it's like, no, we want to win, and I feel like if we do beat Geneva, we win and we get there, fully focus on that game, and just, I feel like it's going to be, no matter how, just like, we can send them home, we can beat them, that means we're also living to play another game, which we love, so, yeah.
Yeah, and in that Wheaton North game, I got to see that one. It seemed as though there was pretty much two players from Wheaton North that was kind of your guys' Achilles heel. It was Jane and the other person.
Talia.
Yeah, they were kind of your Achilles heel. So, again, Tomas, not trying to jump the gun here, but
of course,
in the event that there's a crosstown game, what is going to be the mindset going into sort of neutralizing those two players?
If you're Coach Calipari, what are you telling these girls?
Yes.
Gotta lock them down.
Yeah, we know that literally we had, I mean, anybody that went to the game, we controlled the game, which is such an unfortunate part. Like, we controlled so much of the game, and they literally had 3 chances and put in the back of the net. Like, those players come out to play, and when they see their opportunity, they will execute. So, and together, they're very dynamic too. So we need to figure out something to do to lock them two down, because we know that that's their go-to. Like, those are their players that will lead them to victory.
And does Geneva have like an X factor player that you really have to, or are they kind of more of like a team-based team that they?
I feel like they're very much a team-based team.
Oh, for sure.
Like, they're the kind of team that works really well together. They know each other's tendencies. They don't have that, like, Ashlyn Adams, who can, we can get the ball to and just put in the back of the net. They don't have that person that everybody's worried about,
Yeah.
But.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't replicate. You can't. The Panther. Speaking of, so like, if you were to break down like percentage-wise, how are you more human or are you more Panther? Like, when it comes to your DNA.
100% human for normal days, but then when the whistle blows for basketball and soccer, you know I'm 100% Panther.
Yeah, no doubt. You get that look, like that animalistic look in your eye, and it's on.
Little shout out. I'm sure you guys will bring this up, but she just broke the all-time school record for goals scored in the season. 27 goals.
I was about to say.
Which is, sorry, I stole your.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm like so.
Yeah, it's
proud. I don't know. It's
so
crazy. We're so happy for her. It's amazing. It's so cool.
Yeah, no, the stats are crazy. I mean, 27 goals, 8 assists, 69 shots, 39 on target. Shout out to the Google Sheets. I mean, that's crazy, right? I mean, 53 points. I mean, I don't think Tiger Soccer has seen a player like this in a very, very long time. So definitely, I mean, to have an X factor like that, right, in the big moments, in the big games, is a huge, major reason why the Tigers can have huge success in this postseason. Which I think the last time the Tigers made it really far, I believe there was a 4th place in state, like in 2000.
That sounds right. Yeah.
2002, 2001. It was like early 2000s. South made it to the state finals a couple times. And you look at the bracket, right? Right now it's Geneva in the regional final. Then most likely Wheaton North in the sectional semi. And then really Wheaton North is kind of the hardest team. They're the 1 seed, right? We're the 4 seed. And then you have the 2 St. Charles on the other side. St. Charles North the 2 seed, St. Charles East the 3 seed. And we already beat St. Charles North. We've shown we can do that. St. Charles East, it was a tie, but also the Tigers were a player down for a lot of that game, which
Who committed a red card?
I don't know.
It was an interesting play.
Who was it?
To say the least.
I missed it. Please.
I I don't
The
know.
Panthers.
Oh, what?
Panthers?
I think they're in this room.
Wait, do you actually not know?
I didn't know.
Nope.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I was
Those
a
are
Yeah, I
red
red
got
card.
a red card. No, you're good.
What'd you do? You're too
was-
nice.
I know, that was kind of like
The Panther came out.
the Panther came out. It was like a 50-50 ball.
That's
And
crazy.
I came
It was
in a little
crazy.
late. And it was like, I'm not arguing the fact that it was not a foul or like, I actually talked to a lot of like coaches there or like also people who kind of seen it and like know a lot about soccer and they, well, just to like learn because I'm like, I don't want to get a red card again. Like, cause I mean, I'm not necessarily physical in a dirty way, but like I want to
You've
win.
learned to
I
be
wanna,
more physical too.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
like, so a lot of people think that it was more of a yellow card than a red. I think it just got unlucky because it looked so bad.
People don't know the
Yeah.
real Ashland. That's why it was. But then we had to play a player down for the second
Right.
half of the game.
And I will
Yeah.
say
Which is
something
crazy.
about that. The team, I mean, I'm not surprised at all, but the team played really well. We had the best opportunities. I thought we were more dominant, more threatening than them. The team really picked it up, being down one player against the fourth team in the conference, but very much could have been in the top.
Yeah.
Right.
Could have won, you know what I mean? So I feel like it was a great team effort at the end. It was really amazing to watch.
It was really impressive. I mean, actually, you already kind of said it, but it was like, it seemed like, despite the Tigers being a player down for like half an hour, I think the Tigers were closer scoring than St. Charles East was,
We were.
right? Like, the Tigers were playing better, and being a player down, I mean, you just never, usually in soccer, when you're a player down, you just lock it down. You park the bus.
Right.
Right?
It's
You
such
put
a
a bunch of
disadvantage.
defenders, because it's a huge disadvantage. But that wasn't the case with Wheeling South, and I think that demonstrated that, yeah, the Tigers have a really good shot at, I mean, again, don't want to get ahead of ourselves, Owen,
Yep.
but getting out of the sectional, right, I mean, the top 4 seeds are all the top 4 teams of the Duquesne Conference, and I think any given night, any given day, we can beat any of those teams. And then once you get past the sectionals, then, you're really deep in the game, and, like you already said, it's those playoff games, those elimination games, anything can happen, right? I mean,
With playoffs, you talk about being battle tested, and when your whole side of a bracket is all teams you've played throughout the
Right,
entire
exactly,
season,
yeah.
it's all teams you're familiar with. You know their tendencies, you know what they're going to do. Obviously, some teams throw in like little embellishments here and there to just like throw teams off in the playoffs, but when talking about battle tested, like you guys have played all the good teams
For sure.
on your side of the bracket, so how does that go into like your momentum going into the playoffs?
I think we have to make it a clean sheet. It's a new game. Everyone has a different mindset.
Mhm.
And all the teams will want to start fresh. I mean, the score is going to be 0-0.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know
for
it's good
sure.
competition. We have such good soccer in like our state, so we know what to expect. It's just a matter of
Mhm.
what we can do against that competition because we know what we're capable of too.
Yeah, I'm definitely focusing, like since we did play all 3 of them for, not to put it out there, but like
Right,
if
yeah.
we do get there,
right.
I think the challenge is definitely going in either underestimating or overestimating and purely focusing on us, what we can do, and then obviously like train for that game, but also see what we can do.
Danbury like level-headed about everything. I
Yeah.
feel like we're kind of going off that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, they're big opponents, but
Beautiful.
where are we?
Yeah.
Oh
There's
yeah.
no doubt about that. You guys got some teeth. So speaking about like, so when the Panther went down because of that red card, so
Tragic.
you spoke eloquently about your teammates. Who are some of these like unsung heroes that didn't get to make it to the podcast? Sorry, we don't have enough microphones for the whole roster. But who are some of these unsung heroes that have kind of stepped up? I know you got a few newcomers this year. I know a couple personally from other sports I've coached. We got CT Chloe Trinkle. We got Emma Gromlin. I mean, that girl's got some jets on her.
She's
Like
so
she's got some
good.
burners. Like she was my secret weapon in lacrosse, and then Trinkle in basketball was an Iron Woman. Just like I didn't have to take her off the court. She could have played all 28 minutes. Like
Yeah.
never tire. So other than those two, who else? Who else we got stepping up?
I mean, I feel like you already mentioned it. Like, I feel like Maryland. I feel like just having that such a talent and such, I feel like the whole team, at least for me, like I have so much confidence, like that she's behind us. You know what I mean? I feel like she just gives confidence for the whole team. She's very encouraging. I love having her. And then I feel like the sophomores and freshmen, even though they're young, I feel like they're doing great.
The girl Kayla Waterman, who was on JV last year, has really stepped up. I feel like this year because we lost our other center back. but we've worked well together. I feel like, and just learning each other's tendencies. So that's been key. Lily Petrie, she's been
Oh
Yeah.
C1.
Oh
yeah, she's been a key on the left side.
Where's she headed?
Green Bay.
Yeah. UW Green Bay.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's 3 D1 players so far, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
3.
More coming.
Oh yeah.
More coming. Who's courting you right now? You got any suitors?
We'll see. I don't know. Not D1. I'm not really D1, but that's okay.
Hey, college sports is college sports.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very impressive no matter what.
Yeah. Maryland's going to Fairfield.
Yes,
Yeah.
Fairfield.
Connecticut.
Yeah, I feel like we're very talented, skilled, all up and down the field. I mean, Ella's controlling the middle. She's been
Oh,
playing
yeah.
so well, which has really helped us. I feel like it's like we all play center,
Mhm.
so it's cool.
The spine.
This
It's
is
fine.
There you go.
Yeah.
Coach Cal, is that some Coach Cal terminology?
Of course.
Probably.
Another thing to go with that is the chemistry. I know all of you guys play club together, and this team is very young. You have a few seniors, but a good portion of the starters are juniors and underclassmen. So how does that chemistry, not only this year but for years to come, how does that help you guys for playoffs as well?
I mean, we got so many juniors. I mean, how many are gonna be next year for seniors?
I mean,
16?
there's 10 right now on varsity and there's 6 on JV.
That's
so
a lot. So
We have a big class.
yeah, knowing each other for 3 years already and playing together has helped a lot. And also being on the same club team, I feel like we've learned how we play together.
And then what about those underclassmen for the future of the program?
I feel like it's a good
I feel like it only goes up from here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's exciting what we can accomplish because we literally have 10 of the 11 starters returning, which is very cool to think about.
You don't want to ever look into the future.
Right?
Yeah.
You gotta live in the moment right now with
live in the
playoffs.
moment, but
But I
it
think we
does.
keep carrying on.
It does, and I feel like Wheaton United, who we all play for, majority of us play for, looking even at the younger generations, or our little sisters. I feel like there's such a big talent in Cal, and all the coaches here just developed such a great soccer community that will continue to grow and just continue to develop. So it's really cool to watch.
So you're saying Baby Panthers coming up to the pipeline?
Oh, yeah.
Is that,
Oh,
is that
yeah.
what we're hearing?
I think my baby panther. I mean, my sister. Well,
That's what we meant. Yeah.
Eventually, she'll get here. Give her a couple years.
Yeah.
I wonder how many more times Cal is gonna say, "This is my last year." Oh,
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Another 4.
Yeah, because this was gonna be his last year.
This was
Then
supposed to be his
then
last
he
year.
got another 4 years.
I've heard 3 years.
3 years?
3 more years.
But we've
At
heard.
least.
But who
At
knows?
least.
So that's been for the past 10
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, looking
Go
at
Cal.
what Cal's done with this program, I mean, he's been here for over 30 years now, right? He's created, you already said, such a great community, on both the boys and the girls side. The soccer program here, I think, has grown exponentially, and I think also right now, looking at the squad that South has, it's the most talented team that South has had in a long time, and I think it's only going to get better. So looking at the success, we can have in the playoffs, looking at the success we can have in the Duquesne Conference, right? And sure, all the other teams are up there too, right? We North, the St. Charles, but I think we Memorial South is up there with those teams, right? Which maybe a few years ago that wasn't the case, right? I feel like the two St. Charles have kind of dominated soccer for a long time, but I think that's changed, both from our side and also, we can give a little bit of credit to We North. Maybe, they kind of won conference, sort of, unfortunately, maybe. But yeah, so I think, Cal's done an amazing job. Of course, the players have done an amazing job. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, on Friday, right, it's Geneva, and maybe that team is lower in the rankings, lower in the standings, whatever, but the game's always played on the pitch, right, not on paper. So, not to put, any pressure or anything, but it's at the end of the day, it's kind of all for naught, right, if those steps aren't taken, in those big moments. And, from what I've seen, I think this team's definitely capable of,
For sure.
showing up. in
I
those
feel like
moments.
we didn't really discover the true talent like we have until, we had a strong start. We had a little dip. We lost to Wheaton North and then went to Iowa and then, I don't know, we were on the struggle bus for a little bit, but we started to discover what we are capable of and the talent that we have this year, which is cool. So hopefully we just continue to build off that postseason.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like personally, I'm very confident in this team. I feel like we have so many talented players who just will leave it all for us, for other teammates, for themselves, for the coaches. I feel like we're in a great spot. I'm excited to see what we can do.
And I also think the program does a really good job of kind of looking at goals step by step, right? I remember before the season, right before the season started, Cal talked a lot about getting to those 10 wins, right? Getting to at least 10 wins in the season. You already hit the over on that. The 500th win in program history, which happened against Oswego East pretty early on in the season, that was another goal. And then now, looking at playoffs, it's okay, step by step, a regional championship. Then if you get past there, then you get to a sectional, right? In the conference, you look at, okay, finish top 4, finish top 3, maybe finish, top 1, get the chip. So, I think Cal and overall the coaching staff does a really good job on both sides, I would say, of kind of looking at those goals, making it manageable, but at the same time, set your sights high, right? And compete with those elite programs, right? You look at a team like St. Charles East, they've won state championships, St. Charles North, right? These are teams that are up there in terms of soccer, I guess you could say, the soccer hierarchy in Illinois. And I think Wayne Warble South, we're getting up there. And I think it's really impressive.
We're knocking on the door.
Yep.
We're knocking on the door. We're about to open the door.
For
We'll
sure.
be first in line next season when we return 10 of 11 starters.
Of course.
Yeah, no, that's really unusual.
You heard it here
You don't
first.
see that here from a lot of
No,
teams.
yeah. Beautiful, beautiful.
Big.
Well, I think you've exhausted all my soccer. Now
Me too. I'm
You're
just
all out of
watching
soccer.
talking
the last time. So I played soccer in middle school, and also up through grade school. My dad was our coach and stuff, and we didn't have positions.
No, but
Coach Brennan,
Wow.
Coach Brennan didn't have positions.
he didn't run a 4-3-3.
We just
Spun around.
we wreaked havoc. It was the havoc system. And you know what? Yeah, we did all right
Hey.
back in Riverside.
Fair enough.
Whatever works.
Hey, a win's a win.
Yeah.
A win
No
is
matter
a
how
win.
pretty it is.
I mean, yeah, looking at the tactics, though, I don't want to get too much in the weeds of things, but the Tigers, that 4-3-3, I think from the beginning of the season to now, I'm sure you guys have a better perspective on it as players, but from what I've seen, it's a lot more organized. It's a lot more clear what the plan is. You have, especially I think the 3 midfielders,
So
which Ella, you're one of them. I think that's really key. In the St. Charles East game, that was key.
We didn't give a shout out to Kelsey Clausing either.
Oh my
Big
gosh.
freshman, big role.
Yeah.
You don't see many. She doesn't get a lot of the glory. She didn't score, but she does a good job in the middle, which helps us a lot.
But yeah,
Her, Ella, and Emma, key to our success.
and in soccer, that's key, right? I mean,
Mhm.
especially you look at the holding midfielder position, right? The sweeper, which Ella, you play a lot. That is so important. I mean, you look at throughout soccer history, right? I don't know, the first one that comes to mind, Franz Beckenbauer for West Germany. I don't know how familiar you are with some old World Cup lore, but 1974 champ. But it's that position is so important. But like you said, it's an unsung hero, right?
Right.
They don't score a lot, they don't give a lot of assists, they don't really get a lot of the highlight reels. But without that player, it's kind of like a filter, right? They're a filter between the defense and the offense, connecting the midfield and the middle of the pitch, right? Because they don't only destroy, but they also create, right? Because defenders mostly destroy, attackers mostly create. The midfielders, they have to do both, right? And that's just so important to the success of a team, even if you don't necessarily see it
Agreed.
on the stat sheet.
Kind of going off of that, obviously, not to be, but yesterday with the record, I was actually talking with Marilyn Dixon, who's also on the record board.
Kababi, you have a pizza in the main office.
Ooh.
Pete
Ooh.
Kababi.
Wow.
Good
Mr.
speaker.
Macabami with a
Good
pizza.
speaker. All right.
Wow.
It looks like we're going to
There we go.
Bobby's room after this.
And Marilyn, she's also on the leaderboard, almost very close to also beating the school record, which is amazing for her. But we kind of brought up how defense and also mids. I feel like you, Kayla, the outside backs, the midfields, they're such a major important part of the game. And I won't argue with you or really see a goalkeeper making an amazing save or a forward making an amazing shot and goal. It is easier to be oh wow, that's amazing. But I feel like people don't realize her pass or her defensive stop. I feel like it's just so important. I don't think we'd be the team we are today without those girls in the middle, and they're just so amazing. So kind of going off with you, but yeah.
So I do have to get going shortly. But before I do, thank you everyone I don't know if you can tell, but soccer's kind of,
Yeah, we love it.
kind of my number one sport. About that regional final in Geneva, keep an eye on Chicagoland Soccer. I'll get an article up on there about that game. But first, I do have to get some regular season articles done first. I'm a little behind, kind of,
Thank
finals.
you for doing that too, by the way. That
Oh,
was very
I mean, it's.
You were,
I know
you
you
game
enjoyed
Wednesday?
that, but like.
No, not
Are you going
Wednesday.
Friday?
I'll be there on Friday. Yeah. But first,
There you
I
go.
low key I'm working on that Batavia and St. Charles East. But I'll get it done before Friday for sure. Dave, my boss, if you're listening, I promise you it'll get done. But yeah, so I'll be there on Friday, and yeah, I think this team has great potential to go really far. And also just overall soccer, just Mr. Brennan, I know you're not super familiar with the sport, but it is so much fun. I love soccer so much. And this summer, by the way, if you're paying attention at all, this summer it's gonna have so much soccer.
Oh yeah.
There's the U.S. is gonna have the Copa America. There's the Euros. There's the Olympics on both the men's and the women's sides. I mean, there's
You know your stuff.
there's gonna be
Yeah.
so much soccer. Well, Champions League final first though. First things
Yeah.
first. Champions League June 1st. Borussia Dortmund versus Real Madrid. Really hoping for a Dortmund win there. But anyways, I'll stop on the soccer train. I do have to get going, but thank you
We're so
everyone.
excited.
And
Big
yeah,
postseason.
huge
Thank you,
game.
Tomas.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thanks, Tomas.
Bye, guys.
As Tomas is leaving, though, I'm going to fight back a little bit here. Because now he doesn't have a chance to defend himself. And that's how I roll. So one of my observations as a newcomer to soccer, or a latecomer, whatever you want to say, one of my takeaways is that in the men's game you see a lot of acting, a lot of crying, a lot of fake injuries. And I don't see nearly as much of that in the girls' game. So, why is it? Do you have any theories, hypotheses? Like, how come the guys are babies and the
Girls are tough.
the girls are way tougher? Like, that's the one thing I enjoy the U.S. women's national team immensely. Only watch it in the World Cup, though, of course. Not even the Olympics, because it seems like they don't even take it that seriously in the Olympics. At least like of old, of like the Abby Wambachs, Carly Lloyds. Who's the other girl?
Alex Morgan.
Morgan. The
She's
one,
still
the
around.
one that's
I
married
know.
Sue Bird.
Oh.
Sue Bird's girlfriend or wife.
Zach Ertz's
Megan
wife.
Rapinoe.
Rapinoe.
Oh, Rapinoe.
Sorry, Rapinoe.
There you go.
So like those girls, at least I felt like they didn't take the Olympics super seriously. But it's World Cup. It's like it's
Well, yeah, World Cup's
World Cup's a World Cup, right? It's a crown jewel. So sorry, I'm yapping here, but why are the girls tough and the boys not?
I mean, that was a good question.
Thank you,
I
Ellen.
wish I knew
Fair.
the answer. I mean, I feel like we are also trolled, but like to get calls, sometimes you do have to act. Usually, if you are fouled, it is
Thank
a
you.
foul.
Bye,
But sometimes,
Adios,
I
Tomas.
hate saying this, but sometimes you do have to act. And I feel like the guys really act it out a lot, where they don't really need to. Like it is a foul.
It's also like
to sleep.
stereo. I feel like at this point it's like stereotype of soccer for
Yeah.
guys. It's like that's just what you do. So that's what's I don't know. That's what everybody
Yeah.
It's
does.
like normal. You're expected to run
But
15 times.
We just have to be tough. I
Yeah.
guess.
I remember our coach, like, when we were, I don't know, maybe like 6th grade, he like taught us how to like fall. And like if someone like gave you a little bit of a shove, like he's like, just fall and then I'll call it. And I'm like, okay.
So flopping is slowly making its way into the girls' game. You're telling me?
It might be. I mean, I'm not saying it's the best thing, but.
Not at South though.
Not at
Yeah, not in our.
They don't
game.
really call much in these games from the games I've seen,
Mhm.
but I don't think this team needs to fish for calls. They're just that
Yeah.
good. They don't need to fish for calls.
Yeah, we're above that. We're above
Yeah,
that.
totally.
No doubt. All right, well, you guys have been very generous with our time, but I do have a couple things here. Hopefully the technology cooperates, and then we'll get you out of here because we know you guys are preparing in about 48 hours or so. You're going to be hoisting a regional plaque,
Yeah.
championship plaque over your heads.
Let's go.
For sure.
All right, so let's see. Let's hopefully technology works here. All right, so just a little throwback post. This was back into the fall when you announced your commitment. So actually, I don't know if for the people that are like sleeping under a rock, living under a rock, where are you playing soccer at?
I'm going to the University of Illinois, Champaign.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Very proud of you, obviously. And as you can see, we got a little product placement here.
Oh yeah. My,
Nice.
What do we name him?
Lots of gear.
We're still working on the name, but some kind of salt of the earth Midwest name like Abraham or Lincoln or
Oh yeah.
something along those
Something
lines.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. We'll sleep on it a little more.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if this works. There it is. All right, beautiful. It works.
Woo! That's so cool.
Yeah, so
Dang,
nice,
that's cool.
nice little reveal. Because I know we did this for you in like study hall or access, but
Yeah,
like now
I do
it's
remember
now it's
it.
gonna reach thousands of people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I think you're very talented with the technology. It's very
Well, I don't, maybe you just have some really old teachers because like because I'm like very middle of the road with it. At least that's how I feel.
You know, I'm not. I couldn't do that, so it's impressive.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
It's really cool.
And then, sorry, one last thing from me, and then I'll let anybody else, say their last words. But so shout out Peterman. This is a signed Marissa Peterman teacher appreciation, staff appreciation, Tiger Soccer shirt, and she's gonna go down to the University of Illinois 1 year before the Panther. So she's gonna scope everything out for Panther and make sure everything's Panther ready.
Yeah.
All the facilities are. Just ready, able to host a Panther comfortably and lavishly. So, proud of Peterman, and I know she's like a good hype woman for the team, and
Oh yeah.
she's just an all-American girl, gonna go study marketing in the College of Business. Can't say enough about the kid. Great kid.
Great girl.
A lot of good. We love all our teammates.
Yeah.
That's evident.
We've gotten really close this season. It's fun.
Well, I got nothing else, Mr. Brennan. I think we've hit pretty much everything you can hit.
Based on our limited knowledge of the game of
Yeah,
soccer.
I mean, you just let Tomas, go on a tangent, and
Let
we
him
were
cook.
just like,
Yep.
we'll sit back and watch. When he started going on the World Cup, whatever that was, I was just like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Precisely. All right, beautiful. Well, let's end this with our traditional sign-off. Go Tigers, baby.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers, baby.
Tigers.